Hey guys, it's Coach Travis Robertson. Really excited to be with you today. Really special training that we're going to be doing all about lead generation. So if you're struggling with where do I get leads from in my business? How do I get leads? What are the right strategies for you? How do you figure that out? This training is going to be really, really, really valuable for you. So hang tight. We're going to get to all of it. But before we do, while everybody's getting logged on, do me a favor, guys. Hit the like button, hit the heart button. Let me know you're watching. Let me know you're excited for this. If you're watching live, do me a favor, type live into the comment section. Oops, I got to get my comments up here because we've got people watching on YouTube, on Facebook, on broadcasting on Instagram. I don't know. We're broadcasting all over the place right now. So if you're watching, let us know you're live. If you're watching the live, if you're watching the replay, do me a favor, type replay into the comments as well. For those watching the replay, lets us know kind of where people are watching, how people are watching. So it's great to have you guys here. Ton of content today, guys. Like, I hope you have something to take notes with, because today's going to be very, very, very practical, very actionable, all designed to give you everything you need to figure out how to get leads for your business in a way that matches with kind of where your business is at. So you're going to see it's not just cut and dry. Most people are always like, well, what should I do for leads? How should I get leads for my business? And the answer is always, well, kind of depends. Like, where are you? You know, what's your situation like? How fast do you need leads? There's a lot of things that go into it. So I'm going to break it all down. And actually what we're going to do as part of this is I'm going to kind of evaluate different common popular strategies. I want to say I broke down, I don't know, 7 or 10. I can't remember how many I broke down, like 7 or 10 different strategies that we're going to get to today. And I'm going to break it all down for you. So it is a lot that we're going to be covering today. I'm excited to be with you guys and excited to be here. So let's buckle up and get going. So for those that are new to our world, my name is Coach Travis Robertson. I am the CEO and founder of Don't Settle Coaching. And basically what my team and I do is we specialize in helping real estate agents just like you, real estate professionals, rapidly scale businesses that fund your life and don't run your life. So we teach you how to generate leads, how to get those leads to the closing table, and ultimately then build teams so that you can scale up and buy back your freedom, your time, and really start to have a business that supports what it is that you're trying to create. Now, you don't have to build a team. A lot of our clients decide to build a team. A lot of our clients decide not to build a team. But our job, our goal is to make sure that you're consistently, predictably closing deals every single month. And I know you're thinking, but is that possible in today's market, Travis? The answer is absolutely, resoundingly yes. So if you haven't watched my interview with Brianne from earlier this week, go watch that interview. We've got another interview with another member that we've got lined up for next Tuesday, I believe, that's going to go out to you guys. So really great things happening right now for our clients. And I want to share with you what's working, and then help you start to figure out what are the strategies you need to put in place so that you can consistently be closing deals every single month. So what I want to help you avoid, first and foremost, the very first level we want everybody to get to is I never want you to deal with what I call the goose egg months, the months where you have just no deals coming in. You're like, wow, didn't close anything, nothing lined up. We want to get those. If you're new and you're just like, man, I would love to have no more goose eggs, you're in the right spot. Now, once you're getting rid of the goose eggs, the zeros, what's the next step? In my opinion, if you're full-time in real estate, there is no reason you shouldn't be closing 2 deals every single month. Now, are there going to be some months where you close 1 and then others where you close 3 and then some 4 and then a 1 and then a 1? Yeah, but what we want to do is we want to get you averaging 2 to 3 closings every single month like clockwork. Then what happens after that? Well, now you're probably looking at, okay, do I need a team to support me? Do I need other people to help me? And so as you're growing, as the business is evolving, what you're going to see today is that how you generate leads and how you generate business is going to evolve with you. So as the business is going through its shifts and its changes, you're going to need to change how you're generating business, how you're working those leads, and all of that. So we're going to get to all of this today. I'm going to kind of show you the stages that you're going to go to. So let's just do this. Let me get my slides up here. Central Florida. Love it. I love Florida. I love living in Florida. It's a fantastic place to live. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to be talking about how to pick the best lead strategies for your business. So I've got my slides up here. Yep, that should be showing for you guys. Look at me getting all fancy up in here. So let's just dive right in. Let me kind of walk you through where we're headed today. So when you're considering lead generation, lead flow, and it's not even just about generating leads, but it's about creating leads for your business. There's kind of 5 factors that you're going to need to consider when considering different lead strategies. Because here's the deal, guys. If you don't have leads, you do not have a business. Leads are critical. If you're like, man, I don't know where my next lead's coming from, you don't have a business. You have something that's at the mercy of people sending you deals. So you need to know, where am I going to get new leads, new opportunities into my business? So we're going to talk about the 5 factors of lead flow. I'm also going to walk you through the 5 stages of lead flow. So these are the stages that you're going to go through as your business grows. Then we'll take a look at the common strategies that a lot of people are either recommending or possibly using. And I'll show you why they may not be the best ones for you right now, and what you might be looking at instead based on the 5 factors and the 5 stages. So if you are ready to dive in, do me a favor, type ready into the comments. Let me know you're ready. Let me know you are ready to rock and roll. And then could somebody on my team, just while I'm doing this, because I forgot to pull up the the YouTube comments. Can somebody just go kind of monitor on my team? Would you do me a favor? Just jump over to YouTube and monitor the live there, because I forgot to pull that up. And I don't want to try and pull that up right now while we're live. So if somebody could just be doing that, and then we'll go on our Slack channel, and then feel free to Slack me if there's something over there that I need to be aware of. All right. Thank you, guys. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to jump in. You guys are ready. So let's get going. So there's 5 factors you need to keep in mind when we're talking about lead flow. It's all going to be on the screen. For those that are listening on the podcast, you can go check this out, check out the video. Otherwise, I will walk you through all of this. So there's 5 factors when you're considering lead flow. Like, what am I going to be looking at? So here's what they are. The 5 factors. Number 1, speed. How quickly can the strategy begin to work? How quickly can this start to generate leads for me? And what's amazing to me is that when we see new or newer agents who need business like right now, pick strategies where the speed to actually generate leads is way too long. This is why so many agents don't succeed in this business, because they get started and they pick these strategies that don't work quickly enough. And so they're just struggling to get their business off the ground. Or maybe your business has started to turn as the market has started to turn, and you're like, I need to get some deals going like ASAP. And the problem is you end up picking strategies, though, that don't have quick payoff, that don't get you the results quickly enough. So speed is one of the first factors you need to consider. How quickly do you need this thing to start to work? Number 2 is time. Time, meaning how much time has to be invested into the strategy to get it to work. So how much of your time do you need to invest? How much of, if you've got a team, how much of your team's time do you need to invest to get the strategy to work? Time is a consideration, or what is the life cycle of the lead? So from the time the lead comes in to the time they get to the closing table, different strategies have different time frames associated. So you need to understand speed to get the leads, and then time to get them to the closing table. So all of these things factor in. Number 3 is cost. How much does the strategy cost you? There are some free strategies, which we teach our clients a lot of free strategies. Why? Because free strategies are awesome. They're free. But that usually means they're free in that there's no out of pocket cost. Now, other times we teach our clients paid strategies. There are great paid strategies. And so what I want you to keep in mind is that almost always, like every client is going to cost you something, time, money, or both. And there's almost no such thing as a truly free lead. And people go, what about referrals? Well, if it's an agent referral, you're going to pay a commission or a referral commission on the back end. If it's a referral from a friend or a family member, a lot of times what ends up happening is people discount their commissions on those. And so they lose some extra income that they might have otherwise made. Well, it's like, oh, Mary's a friend, so I'll give you a little bit of a discount. So they don't factor those costs into what it is that they're ultimately doing. But almost everything is going to cost some amount of money to get leads. And you want to be thinking about that. Number 4 is predictability. This is key. Number 4 and number 5 are absolutely key. Predictability. Can you accurately predict how many leads you will get in a 30-day window? Now, I don't need a 24-hour window or even a 7-day window, but generally speaking, in a given 30-day window, how much control do you have over that lead strategy? So some lead strategies have very high levels of control. Some have very low levels of control. Now, you might be going, why would anybody pick a low control strategy? Because they can be high return at the right time in the right setting in your business. But you want to start thinking about, do I need more control over my lead flow or less? Generally speaking, most people need more control to start. And once you have control, you can experiment with a lot of different low control, high return strategies that could potentially work. But again, we'll break all this down. And then number 5, that was predictability. So control, kind of the same thing, is can you control the flow of leads within a 30-day window? So can you predict it and can you control it? So we're kind of talking about those two together, but I want to be able to predict and I want to be able to control. So if I know that I need more leads in 30 days, I know what I need to do to get more leads. If I need less in 30 days, I can throttle it back. So can you control it and then can you predict it? So those are the 5 factors of lead flow. Now I want to take a second and I want to talk about control versus influence. This is something most people get very, very confused on. Is a lot of people, when we get into these lead strategies, I'm going to tell you that there are certain strategies that are low control strategies. And you're going to think, that's not a low control strategy. Here's how I define control versus influence. So control strategies give me direct control over the lead flow. Influence strategies, there are things I can do to influence the number of leads I might get or number of opportunities I might get, but you don't have total control. Let me give you probably one of the most misunderstood lead sources out there, and that's referrals. Referrals. So your sphere of influence, and it's like, oh, I'm not too busy for your referrals, blah, 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 all that stuff. And people go, well, 90% of my business comes from referrals. Here's what I would always ask you. Great. Exactly how many referrals will you get in the next 30 days? Exactly how many referrals will you get in the next 30 days? The only honest answer is, I don't know. I don't know. Now, are there things you can do to influence the number of referrals you get? Sure. You can make calls. You can ask for referrals. You can throw client appreciation parties. There are things you can do to try and influence the number of referrals you're going to get. But can you control it? No, because you're not going to call your friends and family and be like, I need a referral right now. Who do you know that's buying or selling a house? Like, you're not going to hold a gun to their head. You're not going to do that. So you can't control it, but you could do things to influence it. When I talk about control versus influence, what I want to look at is how much true control do I have? Yes, there's things you can do to influence referrals. There's things you can do to influence the number of past clients reaching back out or repeat business. Those are all things that you can influence to some degree, but you will never get total true control over. And in fact, right now, the agents who've predominantly been depending on referrals and past clients, do you know what's happening to their business right now? Most of them are getting hammered, absolutely hammered in today's market because the referrals are drying up, the repeat business is drying up. And so, as that's slowing down, they don't have anything that they have control over where they're putting new leads into the top of the pipeline. So, it creates a lot of problems when you don't have control over your business. All right. So, if that makes sense, by the way, type control into the chat. I want you to know, like, if that's making sense, type control into the chat. Let me know this is resonating with you guys. Maybe my team on YouTube can let me know it's resonating over there. If there's questions coming up, I want to make sure that we're addressing those as much as possible as we go. So let's talk about the 5 stages of lead flow. And this is really critical because as your business is growing, you need to identify which stage are you currently at. So as I walk you through these 5 stages, I want to know which of the 5 stages you're currently at, because your stage will determine your strategy. Your stage of business determines your lead strategy. If you don't understand what stage you're at, you can't figure out the right strategies, and you will end up choosing the wrong strategies because somebody in a different stage told you, well, this is what I'm doing. And you assume, well, if it's working for them, it's got to work for me, not realizing that their business is at a different stage than yours is. And therefore, you need to choose different strategies. So as you're doing this, I want you to take note of the strategies or the stages, but then I want you to think through, like, what is your stage so that you can start to pick the right strategies for you. So stage number 1 is this. This is the first stage. Stage 1 of lead flow is I need leads. It's very simple. I need leads. So here's what happens. If you're in a stage 1, you're going to start to see the speed at which you start to get leads is very high importance. Like, if you need leads, it better happen fast. Like, it better have like I need leads yesterday. I need business yesterday. If this is where you're at, and by the way, this doesn't mean you're a brand new agent. Brand new agents, yes, you're generally at stage 1, but you can be an agent who's been in this business for 10, 15 years and find yourself in a stage 1 scenario, because you've been so dependent on referrals, on past clients, on sphere of influence, that all of a sudden what ends up happening is that starts drying up and you're like, oh crap, I need leads. And so just because you're 10, 15 years in doesn't mean you might not be at stage 1. So you want to know, if you're stage 1, you have a very high important need for speed to get leads. Second is time. You generally have a lot of time to invest in the strategies because you're like, I'm not busy. Like, especially new agents, you're like, not busy, don't have a lot going on. So what you have is you have a lot of time to put into the strategies that you pick. Now, cost, though, if you're in stage 1, you're typically in need of low or no cost strategies. So you're like, I need business, therefore I don't have a lot to invest into lead flow. Now, it's not always the case. There are some people who have savings or have been really savvy with their money, and maybe you've been in the business for 10, 15 years and you've got some money saved up and you're like, crap, I need leads. And you can put some money to it, or you just got in and you're like, man, I'm willing to invest in my lead flow. And so it doesn't mean that you can't have some exceptions to this, but generally speaking, people who are in stage 1 or find themselves in stage 1 are looking for low or no cost strategies. Now, predictability, you have a very high need for predictability, a very high need. You need to know that there's opportunities over the next 30 days. Like, I need to know that there's going to be control or predictability over my lead flow, and you have a high importance for control, because if you can't control or predict it, you're just wondering if you're going to be able to put food on the table 30, 60, 90, 120 days from now. So when you're in stage 1, this is the breakdown. So as you're thinking through lead strategies, you have to ask yourself, how fast is this? How much time is this going to take? All of these things start to factor in. Now, what happens is you move to stage 2. Stage 2, you say, well, I have some leads, but now I need more leads to get to the next stage of growth in my business. Now, some of you might be wondering, well, how many deals would I be doing if I'm stage 1 or stage 2? It's not that. It's not based on a number of deals. It's based on what you actually need to make the money you need to make to live the life or fund the business that you want to be able to fund. So some of you are like, okay, I'm getting leads, but now I need more leads. I want to grow. I want to get to the next level. So I need more leads. So speed remains a high importance. Time, you typically now you're starting to get busier. Your business is building again or you're growing. So the amount of time you have to put into some lead strategies starts going down because you're working with clients, you're going on appointments, you're out showing, you're writing offers, you're at the closing table. So you're busier. So the amount of time you have to invest is generally starting to decrease. Your free time to put in a lead flow is starting to go down. Cost. Also, because your time is going down, you're starting to look at, well, you know what? I could start maybe investing a little bit of money into some of my lead flow because I want to start generating higher quality leads, not just quantity, but now I want a little bit more quality. And so quality requires investment. And so now, in order to do this, I'm willing to put a little bit of more, maybe a little investment into this. So I want to keep my investments lower, but I'm willing to put some money behind this. And then predictability and control remain high. If you need more leads, it's because you're trying to grow and you need to know that you're going to have opportunities to grow, especially if you're starting to put money behind the strategies. Stage 3 is, notice we went from I need more leads to I want more leads. So now you're growing and you're just wanting to grow more. You don't technically need it. You're making good money. You're like, business is good. If you don't get more leads, you're good. Like, you're making good money. You're happy with where your business is at this point. And it's just kind of like, man, I think I want to get to the next level. Like, there's even more. Maybe you're starting to think through, I kind of want to build a team or I want to hire some people. And in order to do that, I feel like I want just more. And there's nothing wrong with wanting more. But remember, we went from I need more to get where I want to go to now I just want more. Like, it's cool. Like, this is a fun place to be, is I want more leads. I want more leads. A lot of our team leader clients are at this stage. They're like, man, I just want more leads because we're serving more people. We're creating more opportunity for our team. And it's awesome. It's a great place to be. So here's where speed starts to drop. It's like, I want more leads, but I don't need them tomorrow. I don't need them right now. So I can start to look at some strategies that maybe have a little bit of a longer time frame to work. I don't have a ton of time to put into these things. So I'm not looking for a high volume. I'm looking for quality. I'm looking for things that are maybe changing a little bit differently. And so I don't need 100 leads or 50 leads or anything like that. But man, if I could get 5, 10 really high quality leads every single month, I have the time and capacity to work with those. That would be great. And so cost, now I'm starting to invest a little bit more into those strategies because I'm trying to get the business growing with quality, not just quantity. Predictability, not as important. I don't need the predictability as much because remember, I have what I need. Now it's just more about what I want. So my needs are covered in that predictability from the first two stages. But if I'm only talking about 5 or 10 a month, I might get one in a week or two in a week. I might go a couple weeks without anything, then pop three. And so I'm okay because my business doesn't need that much predictability from this particular lead source. And then control at this stage still tends to be high importance because I'm wanting more leads. So I do want to make sure that whatever I'm doing, I can control the flow based on my goal of just generating more leads. So some of you, you're like, okay, I'm seeing some notes rolling. And so one person saying I'm between 2 and 3. Yeah. So if you're between, by the way, I want to show you this. If you're between stages, generally speaking, where you want to kind of look at is which one are you closer to? Are you closer to 2 or are you closer to 3? Are you closer to 3 or closer to 4? Like, where you might have one from one of them or two from one of them, but you kind of want to figure out, where am I closer to, and focus in on that one until it's clear that you're in the one that's a little higher up. And then stage number 4 is, I have plenty of leads. Like, I have plenty of leads. I for what my goals are, for what my business is doing, plenty of leads. Like this is an awesome place to be. It's an awesome place to be. So when you're evaluating new lead strategies, speed, you're like, don't care. Like I don't need like it. I want to maybe experiment with some lead strategies. I do not care too much about when they work. If it takes 3 months for it to kind of figure out if this is going to work for us or not, I'm okay. I can invest the time. I'm okay if I wait 6 months to really get a handle on the ROI of this particular strategy because I got plenty of leads. Also, time. At this stage, you have very little time typically to invest into working the actual strategies themselves. So you might have a team member that's working some of those strategies. You might be at the point where you're hiring some things out. You might have an administrative assistant. You might have a virtual assistant. You might have a transaction coordinator, some people where you're starting to build up some administrative team members because your time is limited. So other people might be starting to manage some of these strategies for you. You might have an agent on the team. And then cost, typically at this stage, one of two things is going to happen. If you have plenty of leads, you can do something where you can say, okay, I'm going to reduce or stabilize my cost. So I can either start to cut back on my investments because like, man, I got plenty. I don't need this many. I'm going to just kind of dial back my spending. So you can actually bring your investment down, or you start to stabilize the cost here where you go, okay, I'm not going to bring it down, but I'm not going to keep increasing it. I'm just going to flatline it. We're just going to camp here for a little bit and see what happens. Now, even if you reduce the cost, even if you reduce or stabilize the investment into lead flow, my recommendation is you still allocate a certain amount of investment to testing with new strategies, new things that are out there, so that if you find something that's working better than what you have in place, you can pull one out, drop it in, or you could just bolt it on to what you're doing so that you're diversifying your lead flow. Now, at this point, predictability and control, it's high importance here. And the reason it's high importance is because you're pulling it back. So if you're going to be pulling back your lead flow, you want to make sure that you're not pulling back on the strategies that give you all the control or all the predictability. One of the mistakes we'll see people make sometimes is that they're like, oh my gosh, I've been spending or investing in this lead source, but I have so many leads. And rather than just like dialing it back, they cut it out because they're just trying to get their expenses way down low, not thinking through the fact that, hold on, timeout, you still need these things in place. You still got to have control. You still have to have predictability. So don't lose that in the reduction of your investment. Don't lose the control. Don't lose the predictability. So that's why I label them as high importance here, because you're trying to keep them in mind while you're making adjustments to your budget or to what you're working on. And then stage 5 is, I just got too many leads. Like now we're beyond I have plenty to I have too many. So here's what happens. Speed, very low importance. Time, no time to invest in the strategies. You have too many. You can't keep up with them. Cost, you're often investing heavily in lead flow, and you need to start looking at either building a team or cutting the budget. Building a team or cutting the budget. Now, one option that you do have is you can start to, refer out, create referral partners where maybe you're taking a cut of what they're doing, but they're not technically on your team. So you can kind of build a referral network. That is a model, a little harder to oversee and make sure people are doing what they need to do, but it is an available option for you. Now, predictability kind of depends on whether you're going to scale or cut. So if you're going to grow a team, you need to make sure predictability is still high because you got to be able to feed the team. But if you're not going to build a team and you're going to start cutting, you get to dial back on some of the predictability. And you're like, I got too many. I'm good. Like I can start to pull that back. Same with control. Kind of depends on whether you're going to scale or cut. So do me a favor, guys. Now that we've gone through all 5, punch into the comments. What number stage are you at? What stage are you at right now? I'm seeing between stages on a couple. I'm seeing 1, Ones, lots of ones coming through. I'm seeing some twos and threes. Not right now. People are like, I'd love to be at the number five right now. Like, I'd love to have too many leads, right? We'd all love to be at too many leads sometimes, but it actually can create a problem for people if you have too many leads coming in. It means you've probably invested a little too much, or your systems aren't dialed in. There can be some things that lead to that are just, but it's a great problem to have nowadays. Right now in today's market, we're not seeing a lot of fives and fours. Unless it's a client we've been working with for a while and they're really dialed in, then they can be at that stage. Seeing more twos rolling in, so a lot of kind of in that mid range, that 1 2 3, kind of in that stage. So that's kind of what I would have expected. So let's do this now. What I want to kind of take a look at is I want to evaluate with those five categories and those five stages. Let's take a look at some lead strategies. So now you know where you are, you know what criteria is important to you. Let's break down some lead strategies. You guys ready? So, and then here's what I want to do. If there's one that I don't cover or haven't covered, and if we have time, I'll let you guys drop into the comments, or maybe drop into the comments as we're rolling. If there's a strategy you want me to cover, even if you're watching the replay, drop it in, because I can still, after this airs, after this is posted and everything like that, for those that are live, if we can, I'll try and break it down. If we have some time, I may get to it. So you may put one in and I'll get to it in what we're doing. But if not, I'll see if I can grab it and do it if we have time. Otherwise, I'll make sure and catch it afterwards. I'll go back, read the comments, and do my best to get to all of the strategies you want me to evaluate. So let's just talk about some popular ones. And the first one I want to tackle is referrals. Now, we kind of hit this a little bit, but I want you to kind of keep this in mind. This is why I think building a business just off of referrals is absolutely absurd. I think it's absurd. I think it's just terrible business, terrible strategy. So, and this is why I think telling new agents like, oh, I only build my business, I only work off of referrals. It's like, for most people, it is a horrible, horrible game plan. In fact, real estate is literally one of the only businesses or industries I've ever encountered where people are like, that's a really good idea. Just build your business off of referrals. It's literally like the only industry that thinks that's a good idea. Nobody else does. So why doesn't mean I don't love referrals. By the way, everybody thinks I hate referrals. I love referrals. But here's why this is bad, especially if you're at a stage 1 or a stage 2. Look at this. Speed, low. If you're getting started and you're like, I need leads. I got to get leads. I don't have any leads. I got to get some leads. Well, work referrals. It's like, that is a slow strategy. Time. It can take a medium amount of time to get those. Like, once a referral comes in, it can be nice and it might get there more quickly. But in the beginning, it just takes forever. Cost. One of the benefits of referrals tend to be low cost strategies. Predictability, though, extremely low and low control. So this is why if you're at a stage 1 or a stage 2 and you're like, I'm going to build my business just off of referrals. No, you're not. Like, not in any decent time frame. You better have a second job or a boatload of savings that are going to allow you to last for a really long period of time before you start making money. Because unless your network is deep and you've born and raised, grown in the area, and you've just got a wealth of a network that is going to pump deals to you because you are that trustworthy, that likable, and that known, which most people don't, which is why most agents fail out of the business within 5 years, 3 to 5 years. 85% of agents will fail out of the business because this is the strategy they're all depending on. That's why it doesn't work. It's why I'm right and everybody else is wrong on this. I'm just telling you, this is the problem with it. If this makes sense, guys, type yes into the chat. I need you to know that I love referrals, and I think it's a terrible way to build a business if you're in stage 1 or stage 2. Number 2, repeat business. This is another one. They're like, oh, well, if you're brand new, you can't have repeat business. But even for those of you that have been in the business for 10 or 15 years, part of the problem with repeat business is the same thing. It's speed. They have to be in the house for a certain amount of time generally speaking, to repeat with you. The time that it takes, they're not fast. Like, you're not going to be, getting people from repeat to closing table really, really fast. It's a process that's going to take some time, cost. You've got to invest money into nurturing your repeat business, your past clients. You got to be able to put money into these things so that people continue to reach out to you. Client appreciation parties, things like that you're going to be doing. It does take some money. Predictability, extremely low. Tell me exactly how many people are going to repeat a transaction with you in the next 60 days, 90 days. You have no idea, especially in today's market when so many people pulled their time frame forward because interest rates dropped so low that people who were maybe going to wait 5 to 7 years, they're like, holy crap, I've got equity and I've got low interest rates. Instead of waiting 5 to 7 years, let's sell this house. Let's go buy something bigger. Let's take that equity, drop it into the new house, and let's get a 3% mortgage on this thing, and I'm good. So business that you were going to have this year, next year, the year after, move their time frames forward. And so repeat business is becoming a real struggle for some people. Generic social media. Oh, I love this one. Like, what do you do to generate business? Oh, I post on Facebook. Getting super famous on TikTok. And no joke, guys, I was talking with a client 2 days ago, and it was really interesting. And he was telling me, he goes, Travis, and I can't say who the client was because I know there are agents in his office that do watch this. So he goes, Travis, I got to tell you something. He goes, like, he's killing it right now. He's killing it in his office. And there, he goes, there's an agent in my office. He goes, no joke, has 500,000 followers on TikTok. No sales. I was like, no sales this month? He goes, no sales ever. But he's on there as a real estate influencer and agent influencer, 500,000 followers, zero sales ever. Like, not even his mom has been like, hey, sweetie, here's the deal. Like, no joke. So here's the thing. Not saying social media is bad, but you have to understand, if you're like, well, I'm going to get in business and I'm going to tell everybody I'm in real estate, I'm going to post on social media. That's fine. Like, do those things and understand that it's not going to build your business quickly. Like, it's a great thing to do, but understand how it fits into your strategy. So the speed, very low. Time, medium to high. It's either it's going to take you time to post content, to publish good content, to create the videos, to create the reels, to do the things. Like, it's medium to high levels of time that you're going to be investing into these strategies for low speed. The cost, I probably should have put medium because there are some people that do invest decent money into this. And some invest a lot of money into this, but I'm going to kind of just keep it at low, but low to medium. Predictability, very low. Control, very low. That's the problem. Like, so you can see, here's the top 3 strategies for when we talk to people. Look at this. Top 3 strategies for when we talk to new agents. So when my team goes, hey, what's your game plan to grow your business? Top 3 strategies: referrals, repeat business, social media. Well, I'm telling everybody I'm in business. I'm asking for referrals, and they don't usually say repeat, but network, social media. That's it. Here's the problem right here. When are you going to get clients? You don't know. That's the biggest issue. Here's another one that people like a lot: direct mail. And I think direct mail, I think there's some benefits to direct mail at the right time. But here's the issue. Again, depending on where your business is at, you want to keep in mind, does it meet my needs based on the stage my business is at? Speed. How quickly does direct mail work? Not very quickly. It takes time to really get a true ROI. Now, there's always the unicorn stories of somebody's like, I sent out my first postcard and got a listing. Don't listen to those people. That is very, 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 very rare. Usually it takes a large number of sends over a long period of time with a decent amount of cost associated with it, medium to high levels of cost. And even still, you can't predict and you can't control. You can influence, but you can't predict and can't control direct mail. I'm not saying don't do it, But some of our most successful clients, direct mail is a bolt-on strategy. And now they're just continuing to saturate the market and like, I'm going to pull from here, I'm going to pull from here. But for most agents, I think direct mail is an absolute waste of money. Truly. I think it's just a waste of money for most agents. Cold calling. Okay, so here's where we get a little controversial. I actually, so we can teach cold calling. I know how to cold call, and we've taught cold calling. I think cold calling means a lot of different things to a lot of people. We're not going to get into that here. But here's what I would say. Cold calling actually has some benefits, like has a lot of benefits. Most people won't do it, but it has some real benefits to it. Speed. Um, if you're good, this could go low to high. I mean, it just kind of depends on how good you are on the phones, how consistent you are. But for the way most people do it, it takes a long time for it to start working. I can't tell you how many Facebook groups I'm in, how many different things that I'm in where I see people going, I've been dialing every day for 6 months and finally got my first client from cold calling. Well, that's 6 months. That's a lot of time. And they've been dialing every day and hundreds of dials a day. And so, but then I do know other people that can get in and start seeing results pretty quickly. So I could say that could be argued that it could be a low speed to a high speed, depending on your background, your skill set, tools, mindset, and some other things in there. But for most people, the way we see them do it, it's a low to medium thing. Time takes a lot of time. It is a high time strategy. You are dialing for dollars, baby. You are smiling and dialing. And if you're like, I do it 30 minutes a day, you're not putting in nearly enough time. You're talking 2-3 plus hours a day into dialing, which if you've got a lot of time, it's not a bad place to consider looking at times. Cost, medium to high cost if you're going to do it well, because you're generally looking at buying some lists, buying some software to make it work really well. So that's where you're looking at like a RedX or a Vulcan 7 or, some of these other platforms that are out there where you're going to be buying the leads and paying for the software that's going to allow you to do it. So some might argue it's low cost. I'd put it more in the medium cost, upwards of high cost, depending on if you're doing multi-line dialers and other things like that, relative to how most agents like to invest their money. Let's put it that way. Predictability, you actually have quite a bit of predictability. Once you get rolling with and you get good at cold calling, you have a fair amount of predictability. It's like, man, I know if I'm making dials, I know my numbers. Every dial I make is worth this. Every 10 dials I make, I'm going to make this many appointments. Every 100 dials, I'm going to have this many clients. Every X number of dials, I'm going to have this many closings. And so you start to get, if you're tracking your numbers and you're getting really good, you can actually have very high predictability and very high control. That is a benefit to calling and cold calling strategies. So, I know I knock it a lot. I don't think it's a great long-term strategy, but I think that there are some absolute benefits to it. And a lot of our team leaders, they have their team doing some amount of cold calling in addition to the lead generation that they're doing to just kind of supplement and, keep the team hungry, teach lions how to be lions and let them know that we're not order takers, we're sales makers, as we like to call it around here. What about door knocking? Not a fan of door knocking, as you can see. Speed, very low. Time, very high time. Cost, low. That's a benefit. Predictability, low. Control, low. Somebody might argue that it's higher control, higher predictability than that. I would take issue with it because it's so dependent on the areas that you're marketing or you're knocking. I think as strategies go, I would best case maybe give it a medium, but generally speaking, I'm going to put that in the low category on those. Now, here's one of my favorite strategies, absolute favorite strategies. In fact, I did a training on this for you guys maybe about 2 months ago on buying old leads, one of my absolute favorite strategies. And here's the truth. If I were to get licensed today, dropped in any market, this is the strategy I would use to get started like that. Here's why I like it. Speed, very fast. Like I can go from 0 to hundreds or thousands of leads in a matter of a week or two. This is an absolute game changer strategy. It's why we teach our clients exactly how to do it. And every time we do, they go, oh my gosh, I'm killing it with this strategy, because there's ways to approach it and do all that we cover in our program. Time, it's a high time strategy. It is going to take you time to do it. But guess what? If you're in stage 1 or stage 2, you got a lot of time. You got plenty of time to do this one. Cost, very low out of pocket cost, and sometimes very low overall cost. You might have some referral fees on the back end, but again, it's no different than if somebody sends you a deal and you pay them 20, 25%. Cool. Like that's great. So cost, it's low. Somebody would argue high if you're paying it on the back end, but I look at out of pocket cost. It's kind of the big one that everybody's always worried about. Predictability, medium high predictability, like very high predictability once you get really good at this. Same with control, really high control. You'll start out more in the medium control, medium predictability, but the better you get, you can blow the doors off of your income just buying old leads. Most of you actually right now in the next 12 months could make easily into the 6 figures just buying old leads. Easily. Or add 6 figures to your business just buying old leads. It's like it would be the fastest strategy you could do right now to get clients. It's literally my favorite strategy. We've been teaching this for 13 years on how to do this effectively, and our clients absolutely kill it with this one. Open houses. Let's look at open houses. What about open houses? Speed, actually medium to high speed. A lot of times you can get clients coming out of open houses. A buddy of mine, Brian Bollier, he and I talked about this years and years ago. We're like, man, if agents just sat more open houses and did them well, like they could build a 6-figure business in the first 12 months, no problem, just sitting open houses, but doing it well. Time, it does take time. Like it's a high time investment strategy. You got to put the time into it to make it work. Cost, I put low because you can get away with low, but low to medium cost, depending on what you're doing and kind of what your game plan is with it. But there is some cost with it. Predictability, low to medium, because you can't always control or predict how many people are going to walk through in any given open house. But over enough open houses, you start to create some level of predictability and control, because you start to figure out what's working well for you to drive traffic. So when you know how to drive traffic like we teach, you can actually make open houses very, very lucrative and very, very much worth it for you. Even if you don't have a listing, knowing how to sit open houses for other agents and get them to say yes to you is a really great thing. Facebook ads, speed high. I love Facebook ads. I love Google ads. Time, medium to high when you're learning how to do this, or you can outsource it and it's low time for you. But depending on whether you're doing it or others are doing it, your cost is going to be medium to high, because you're going to pay for the ads whether you run them or somebody else runs them. Predictability though, high predictability, high control. I love advertising. I think everybody at some point in time does need to do some amount of advertising. Google ads. Here's another one. Same basic thing, though you'll notice what changes between Facebook ads and Google ads primarily is cost. So your cost per lead on Google is going to be higher than it is on Facebook. So you're going to have a higher cost with Google ads, but I love Google ads for business right now. I think they're just a fantastic source and strategy. And then something else I want to cover here is organic YouTube. Organic YouTube. So this has become really, really, really popular. And I'm a big fan of YouTube. I'm a big fan of organic YouTube. We teach our clients organic YouTube and how to do it well and do it right. Here's the problem. It's being misused in a lot of newer agents' businesses. And for this reason, the speed, the time, and the cost. So once it's rolling, you can actually have very good predictability and control over lead flow with organic YouTube. But what a lot of people, they hear the success stories of all these people are like, man, I put out a few YouTube videos and then all of a sudden I started getting leads. That is the unicorn. That is not what happens for most people. That is not most people's experience. People who start to do really well with organic YouTube from the start, generally very good on camera, very good production quality. They know how to script, they know how to dial things in, so they can generally get it rolling a lot faster than most people can on organic YouTube. So I'm not saying don't do it, but to me, it's a later in your business strategy. It's when you're at like stage 3, 4, 5. Maybe in a stage 2, you can start putting some things in place. But if you're stage 1, I'm not doing organic YouTube because the speed to get results is pretty darn low for most people. And it takes a lot of time. And I would argue it costs a lot of money or a lot of opportunity costs. So even if you're not coming out of pocket, but you're getting production equipment, you're getting, video cameras and audio equipment, and you're paying for lighting and post-production, and you're just going to be pumping a lot of time into that. And that's going to cost you in lost opportunity, lost sales, or you're going to be paying somebody else to do that. So it tends to carry, and the people who tend to have the best results with YouTube, organic YouTube, do tend to hire somebody to help with the content production, the post-production, and all of that on the back end. And they start investing money into the equipment, into the cameras, into the videos, into the audio, and all of that stuff. And so it does tend to carry a high cost. So there's a lot of promises around organic YouTube that I think are hype. And so I'm not saying it can't work. I just think that it's something you want to keep in mind. So here's the deal, guys. If you have questions, you want to find out how you can start utilizing this in your business starting right now, like you don't have to waste time trying to figure this all out. And like, how do I get these things to work? Book a call with our team. Take the fastest path to success. We've figured it out. We know how to make this stuff work for you depending on what stage you're at. So if you want some help figuring out what is the right strategy for you, my team, we've set aside some time in the next 24 to 48 hours or so to speak with you personally about how you can start applying these strategies into your business starting right now, starting today. So here's the thing though, on this call, we're going to get you crystal clear on a few things. Number one, what are the income and production numbers you need to be targeting over the next 12 months and why? So that you know what is the business you're trying to build in the next 12 months. You can grow in today's market if you know what you're trying to do and why. Second thing we're going to do is we're going to identify the roadblocks that are really kind of standing in the way, holding you back, help you rip those things out and get real clarity around what is that exact formula you're going to need to follow in your business so that you can hit your income goals, whether that's 150,000, 250,000, or even, $500,000 or more over the next 12 months. What is it that you need to put in place, that exact strategy for you so that you have a game plan to get there? Now, this is not for everybody. This is for people who are committed to growth. So if you're just looking to add a couple deals a year, you're not ready for what we do. Just being honest here. On top of that, you need to be decisive and ready to evolve your strategies, because it's 6 months from now, not a year from now, like at some point I'll do it. The market's changed, guys. The market's evolving and it's only changing more. And so if you're going to wait 6 months, you may not be in business in 6 months. You've got to be ready to start taking action right now if you're going to be booking a call with our team. And then number 3 is you got to be coachable. We're not going to argue with you. The truth is, only one of us has been doing this for 13 years and helped thousands of agents build 6-7 figure businesses, and we know how to do it and we know what works. And so we're not going to argue with you. If you want to argue for your way of doing it, that's cool. Go talk to somebody else. We're here to help you. We're here to help you figure out what's next for you and your business. And we want to support you on that journey and see, couldn't we help? Is it the right fit? We'll talk about what that looks like. If not, we'll tell you that too and do our best to kind of point you to the right person. So if that is you, do me a favor, reserve your spot right now. Go to travisrobertson.com/schedule. Somebody on my team will drop a comment below with a link to the actual scheduler where you can grab a time on our calendar, talk to somebody on our team. Let us help you figure out what is the right strategy for you. What stage is your business at? How are you going to get where you want to go to make the money, have the life that you ultimately want to have from real estate? There's an incredible opportunity right now, guys. We want to help you get there. So it's been an absolute pleasure, guys. If this was valuable, do me a favor, hit the like button, hit the heart button, smash those buttons. If you're on YouTube, hit subscribe. Do me a favor, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell so you never miss a time when we go live. We're here to support you, here to help you. If you found this valuable, let me know in the comments below. And if you have a strategy that you kind of want me to break down, drop that below as well. And I'll go read all the comments and do my best to kind of give you some feedback on how it fits in those 5 different categories. So you can start to figure out, is it a good strategy for you and where you want to take your business. So again, guys, travisrobertson.com/schedule. We will see you next week. We've got a new client interview going out next week. We've got your training lined up for next week. So all sorts of awesome stuff for you guys ready to go. And love you. I appreciate you. It's an honor to get to serve you. Make it an absolutely blessed and wonderful week, guys. Remember, don't settle for anything less than you're capable of. If you just believed in yourself a fraction as much as I believe in you, you'd have an amazing business, amazing life ahead of you. And it's an honor to get to serve you. Take care, guys.